Now let's look at one of the keys on the keypad. I imagine the key sprites will all look nearly identical because they perform almost the same function. I'll look at the number 1 key. This may look complicated, but parts of it should also look a bit familiar to you from previous things you have coded. Let's try to read this. Try to read the initialize code starting with a green flag. When the green flag is clicked. Forever. Since this forever block wraps around all of these other blocks, it will repeat everything inside forever, or at least for as long as the program is running. If touching mouse pointer. If what is touching the mouse pointer? We are coding the number 1 keypad, so I'll be more specific. When the green flag is clicked, forever. If the number 1 key is touching the mouse pointer. Then switch costume to costume 2. Let's look at the costumes to see if we can figure out what that will do. As I click between these, you notice that costume 2 is brighter. Watch as I have the mouse pointer touch the number 1 key. Notice it shows brighter. When I have the mouse pointer hover over all the keys, you notice that they all work this same. So I was correct in thinking the code would be similar. Let's rephrase this sentence so that it makes more sense to us. When the green flag is clicked, if this sprite is touching the mouse pointer, switch to costume 2, the brighter button. Or else if it's not touching the mouse pointer, switch to costume 1, and do all of this forever. Now look at the other string of code, or algorithm on this sprite. Try to figure it out yourself and see if there is any code that is familiar to you from the Morse code project. When this sprite is clicked, go to this exact X and Y position. And this is what should look familiar. Start sound, button beep sound effect 2. Set size to 100%. Then change size by -10. Wait 0.2 seconds and change size by +10. What does this do again? It makes it look like the button is being pressed. This last reddish block is a new one. You can find it in the variables category. It is called a list, and what it does is keeps track of a list of things. It can keep track of numbers or letters, among other things. The block itself says, add number 1 to the list named code entered. It makes sense that this would be a number 1 because the sprite we are decoding is keypad number 1. My guess is that the number 2 keypad is coded the same way, as well as the rest of the keypads. Before I look at the code, let's click on the number 2 to see if it puts a 2 in our list. It does. Now let's try clicking the number 1. It added it to the list below. So the order that I click on the blocks determines the order that it adds the numbers to my list. Keypad 2 adds a 2 to the list. 3 adds a 3. Keypad 4 adds a 4 to the list, and so on.
Access denied.
Whoa! It appears that when the list reaches 4 numbers, it gets cleared. This tells me that the passcode to the malignant security is only 4 digits long.